Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we are really strapping in. We're going to take a high-octane, detailed look at the absolute chaos hitting the bold and the beautiful.
Yeah, buckle up is right.
This isn't just, a quick spoiler summary. We're going to spend the next maybe 20, 30 minutes really digging into how multiple character arcs are just strategically collapsing and the consequences. Oh boy, the consequences of one terrible secret.
That's right. So for all of you following this escalating madness on B&B, we've got the early weekly spoilers. This is for September 22nd through the 26th, 2025.
And these spoilers, they're built directly on what just happened, right?
Yeah.
Like the end of last week.
Exactly. Built squarely on the huge events from the days just before, specifically that Thursday and Friday setup. So our sources, they kind of mix the immediate fallout, like scenes that just aired, with some pretty bold predictions for what's coming next week.
And when we say high octane, we really mean it. This feels like game-changing stuff. We're talking Luna Nozawa's extreme plot finally getting blown wide open. It's calculated. Frankly, it's pretty vile.
Totally. And we're going to dissect Deacon Sharp's impending fury, which sounds like it's going to be volcanic. And then there's Electra Forrester. The absolute horror waiting for her. She has absolutely no idea her whole world's about to just shatter.
Yeah, poor Electra.
Yeah.
So our mission today, it sounds simple, but it's kind of demanding. We're going to pull out every single critical piece of info. We want to see which alliances are just dissolving, turning to dust.
Right. Which relationships, maybe long-standing ones, are going to shatter completely. And what does this all mean for, the Spencer and Forrester families, their empires moving forward?
So this is definitely more than a recap. We're analyzing the fallout, the dramatic consequences.
Sure.
Okay, let's unpack this. Where do we even start? Maybe with the foundation. The immediate fallout for Luna from, the end of last week.
Yeah, good place to start. So, Luna, she's been busted, right, on multiple fronts. First, Bill and Katie find out she molested Will. Huge. And that alone is grounds for, serious consequences. But it didn't stop there, did it? No way. It escalated, immediately into raw physical violence, which tells you just how severe everyone sees this betrayal. Her own grandmother, Lee Finnegan, the doctor.
Yeah, Lee Finnegan physically attacked her, strangled her, apparently. This isn't, sophisticated Dr. Finnegan resorting to violence because the betrayal is just that deep. It's personal. It's generational.
Wow. And it was during that attack, that really critical moment, this collision of, justice and family rage, that the key piece of evidence literally falls out of her purse.
Yep. The final nail, you could say? A pregnancy test.
Oh, my God. Classic soap, but wow.
It's the ultimate twist, isn't it? And you got to remember, she'd taken this test earlier in Remy and Deacon's bathroom. But she was frantic because she didn't get the 5 minutes right. She couldn't wait for the reading. The source really noted her desperation to see that result.
So she finally gets a moment, maybe after the attack or during a lull. She looks down, and it's positive. Positive. And here's the kicker, the thing that the sources are really highlighting. Her reaction. The sheer, unbelievable chutzpah. She was reportedly excited.
Excited after being caught for molestation and getting strangled.
Excited, viewing this pregnancy not as, a terrible consequence of her awful actions, but as the solution. The quote was, it would solve all their problems.
That's chilling. Solution to all her problems. It really defines her, doesn't it? As completely delusional.
Absolutely. Fundamentally delusional. She's not seeing jail time. She's not seeing Will's trauma or Electra's pain. She sees a golden ticket. A pregnancy from this horrific deception is now, in her mind, her get-out-of-jail-free card, her redemption set, maybe, and a shield against prosecution.
It's a cold, calculated move. Leveraging a Spencer heir. That's the whole game.
Entirely. It's toxic, manipulative, based purely on using the baby.
Okay, so that sets up Thursday, September 18th. Luna makes her new play. The sources kind of hedge here, saying the spoiler mentioning Forresters might be a bit sloppy writing.
Right. Because the real audience for this plea, the people who hold her fate, it's not the Forresters yet. It's the core group she directly harmed. Bill, Katie, Will, and Lee.
So what's the play? What does she do?
It's pretty straightforward, really. She begs them. Begs Bill, Katie, Lee, Will, don't send me to jail. And she uses the baby as leverage. She's basically arguing, maybe even screaming it, I'm pregnant, and it's your grandkid, Katie. It's a Spencer heir.
It's just pure tactical maneuvering, using biology. She knows that in this world, on B&B, a baby often forces families together, no matter how horrible the circumstances of conception were.
Exactly. But what about the family's reaction? The sources say Bill, Katie, and Lee are just disgusted.
I bet.
They see this positive test for what it is, like a grim reality, something they can't just wish away. It complicates everything. Bill, especially, you know how he gets when a kid is involved, even if the mother is. Well, Luna.
So what about Lean? She just physically attacked Luna. Does the pregnancy news soften her stance at all?
Doesn't sound like it. According to the sources, Lai is still laser-focused on justice. For her, this grim reality is maybe even worse. It means Luna's toxicity, her brand of insanity, as the source puts it, might now get passed down.
Ugh. Like mother, like daughter, like granddaughter.
Pretty much. So yeah, they'll do follow-up medical tests, obviously. They won't just take Luna's word for it after everything. But strategically, Luna's already won a small battle. She's successfully tangled up a criminal matter with family obligation. It makes the Spencers' next move incredibly difficult.
Okay, meanwhile, completely oblivious to all this, we have Electra Forrester.
Miles away from the explosion, yeah. And she's apparently giving everyone TMI too much information about her sex life with Will, even talking to Hope Logan about it.
Oh, Electra. That's awkward. Maybe a classic setup for tragedy, right? Basking in this new intimacy, oversharing.
Totally. The source even mentioned hoping she doesn't share those details with Katie. Like maybe it's too raw, too private for someone like Katie to hear.
It seems like her aunt, Ivy Forrester, is kind of a mentor figure. Maybe that explains why she's so open and focused on building this perfect romance.
Could be. But the key thing is, Electra is tunnel vision on romance for Friday, September 19th.
Right. This special night.
Yeah, she's preparing this deeply romantic evening for Will. It's not just dinner. There's a custom gift, apparently. A necklace with their initials. She's pouring all her emotional energy into celebrating this beginning of their future together.
Oh, the necklace. I saw the social media joke about reversing the initials. WE becomes EW.
Oof. Yeah. Pitch black humor, but sadly, kind of points exactly where this is all headed, doesn't it?
It really does. Because while Electra's planning this beautiful night, Will is internally just imploding.
Consumed with guilt. Crushing, debilitating guilt, the sources say. He knows he has to confess. And now, adding this impossible weight to it all, is Luna claiming she's pregnant.
Okay, we have to talk about the possibility of faking it, though. Luna faked the paternity test with Bill before, right? Successfully.
She did. She has a history. So, that's the logical counterargument. Maybe she's faking the pregnancy, too. Using fake biology again, for leverage.
But the sources lean towards it being real this time.
Yeah, the evidence seems to point that way. The timing, mostly. Her frantic need to wait those 5 minutes for the result back in the bathroom. It suggests she genuinely didn't know the outcome and needed to see it.
That makes sense. If it were a fake test, she'd just have it ready, wouldn't she? No need for the desperate waiting game.
Exactly. She wouldn't risk getting caught taking it. She'd just pull out the pre-prepared positive test during the confrontation.
Okay, so if it is real, that makes Will's situation and the confession he has to make to Electra just infinitely worse.
Infinitely. Because if it's fake, maybe, just maybe, there's a clean break eventually. Legal stuff, but emotionally, maybe cleaner. But if it's real, Electra doesn't just lose Will to a breakup. She loses him to a permanent connection with Luna. Even if he hates Luna, that baby ties them together.
Forever. Luna gets locked into their lives forever.
Wow.
Okay, let's pivot now. From the Spencer meltdown to the other major couple about to just face total annihilation, Sheila Carter and Deacon Sharp.
And the contrast is just, wow. While all that drama is unfolding with Luna, the strangling, the pregnancy test, where are Sheila and Deacon on Thursday?
According to the sources, they're all cuddly at Il Giardino.
All cuddly. It's like perfect textbook dramatic irony, right? The writers are setting this up beautifully. They're having this moment of quiet, domestic bliss, completely unaware that their cozy little life is about to get nuked.
Nuked by the very person Sheila was hiding.
Exactly. The sources specifically say this cuddly time is basically lighting the fuse, a fuse that's going to blow up Sheila's happy little life.
And put their marriage absolutely on the rocks. That's strong wording.
It is. That calm before the storm, it just highlights how much Sheila actually values this life she's built with Deacon. She hasn't felt this safe, this sort of normal in years, probably ever. But yeah, the sources confirm this exposure is going to rock their marriage to its core.
So how does it come out? How does Deacon find out Luna's alive?
Well, first Sheila finds out. And apparently she's going to be in absolute shock. She thought that whole Luna situation was dealt with, contained. Maybe she even hoped Luna was actually gone for good, you know?
Yeah, maybe she secretly hoped Lee had finished the job or something darker.
Could be. But the news hits her hard. And how does it get out more broadly? It's not going to be a slow leak, apparently. The confrontation is likely kicked off by Lee Finnegan.
Lee again, she's on a warpath.
Totally. Operating purely on vengeance and justice now, Lee is expected to call Sheila and just lay it out bluntly. The jig is up.
Wow. So Lee tells Sheila directly.
Seems like it. Lee confirms that Bill, Katie, and Will know everything. They know Luna's alive, and crucially, they know she's pregnant. Knows this information will absolutely dismantle Sheila's world, and she's using it. Like a weapon.
And that's what leads to Deacon's rage.
That's the trigger. Here comes the volcanic fury. Deacon is going to be so mad. And the sources are really specific about why he's so mad. It's not just that Luna is alive.
It's the betrayal from Sheila, right?
Exactly, the profound breach of trust. The issue isn't just Luna existing. It's that Sheila was actively aiding, abetting, and enabling her, quote, awful granddaughter, Luna. And the real knife twist, this whole deception happened right there, under his roof.
Ah, okay. That makes sense. Deacon's been betrayed by Sheila before. I mean, attempted murder, hello. But this feels different. It's disrespectful. It violates their home, their sanctuary.
That's a great way to put it. A violation of their marital sanctity, the safety of their home. Deacon thought he finally had something stable, maybe not perfectly normal, but his. For Sheila to bring this level of active criminality, enabling Luna's actions into their shared space, it just undermines everything they built.
It really does. And the irony, the sources pointed out, that Deacon thought he was doing the right thing before, trying to help Will somehow.
Yeah, this spectacular, ironic twist. Maybe he gave Will some advice or just general support, thinking he was being responsible. But because he let Sheila operate unchecked, because he trusted her implicitly in their home, he accidentally set the stage for this whole catastrophe. His good intentions basically provided the perfect cover for Sheila's deception.
Wow, that's rough. Now, here's a classic B&D question. Knowing Sheila, is there any part of her, even a tiny twisted part, that's going to be secretly impressed?
Right. Impressed that her evil granddaughter Luna pulled it off, that she snagged a Spencer heir through sheer audacity.
Is there like a flicker of villainous pride?
There might be a tiny flicker of admiration for Luna's criminal resourcefulness. But even if there is, it's not going to save her from Deacon's reaction. The sources speculate Sheila might immediately try her usual tactic.
Play dumb.
Exactly. Play dumb, act like she had no idea Luna was alive, no idea about the pregnancy, nothing.
The sources say that won't fly this time. Why not?
Because of Lee. Lee Finnegan is the wild card here. Even if Luna, maybe out of some weird loyalty or just self-preservation, doesn't rat Sheila out, Lee absolutely will.
Right. Lee has zero reason to protect Sheila, or Luna for that matter. She'll expose Sheila's role in the cover-up?
Almost certainly. Lee wants justice, and exposing Sheila is part of that.
Okay, and let's just circle back quickly to Luna's mindset here. This belief that the baby is her redemption set.
Yeah, the source really hammers this point. She is absolutely delusional. If she genuinely thinks she and Will are somehow going to have a fairy tale ending just because she tricked him into getting her pregnant, it's just, wow.
It says so much about her worldview, doesn't it? Maybe inherited from Poppy. That biology trumps morality.
Seems like it. That biological ties are powerful enough to erase any crime, any betrayal. She just doesn't get the difference between, strategic entanglement and actual love or forgiveness.
No kidding. This move, using the baby, it's guaranteed to create lifelong misery, not a happy family.
Exactly. It ties right back to that toxic Nozawa legacy, manipulation, using biology as leverage. That seems to be the playbook. And now the Spencers, the Forresters, Deacon, they're all caught in the fallout from that really twisted foundation.
Okay, this is where the tension just goes through the roof.
Right.
The most agonizing part of the week, probably. Will's confession to Electra.
Yeah, and it happens on their special night, the romantic evening she planned, the one with the necklace.
It's just brutal timing.
He must be absolutely terrified. The sources say he's panicked about losing her forever.
Totally. But he knows he has to do it, right? Driven by conscience, maybe just sheer necessity, he has to tell her before she hears it from someone else.
Yeah.
Because the rumor mill in that town, it'll be churning the second Luna's exposure goes public.
So the sources break down the confession. It's like a 3-part trauma bomb, delivered in stages.
Pretty much. And the order seems really important for maximum devastation.
Okay, stage 1. First, and maybe the least shocking part, relatively speaking, he has to tell her Luna is alive. Just establish that basic fact. The person who did this isn't gone, isn't a ghost. The threat is real and present.
Okay, sets the stage. But then part 2, This is where it gets really messy, right? The sexual betrayal part. The sources broke it down into like a 2A and a 2B.
Yeah, exactly. So 2A is the initial act. He has to explain, I accidentally slept with her while she was wearing a mask.
Right.
That's the assault part, the initial deception, where Will was technically an unknowing participant. He was manipulated.
Okay, horrible enough. But 2B, this sounds like the real emotional killer.
It is. Because 2B is, according to the sources, even after I knew I slept with another woman, I still took your virginity.
Oh, wow. So it wasn't just being tricked, it was a conscious decision after the fact.
Exactly. That's the crusher. It implies he knew he'd been with Luna, even accidentally, processed that horror, and then made a deliberate choice to proceed with Electra, to sleep with her, to take her virginity without telling her the truth first.
That compounds the betrayal exponentially. He deceived her actively at that point, by omission.
Right. He stole that incredibly significant moment from her because he was too scared to confess what had happened with the mask. That failure to come clean before taking her virginity? That's probably what Electra will find almost impossible to forgive. It wasn't just being tricked. It was being actively lied to in the most intimate way.
Okay, so Luna's alive. He slept with her accidentally, then knowingly took Electra's virginity.
Yeah.
And then the final blow.
The final blow. The permanent, inescapable consequence. Oh, and by the way, Luna is pregnant. With my child.
Ugh, that just shatters everything. Her whole romantic reality just gone. It's not just a breakup, it's a life sentence in a way.
Totally. The implications for Electra are devastating and long-term. Even though Will wasn't a knowing participant in the initial act, Luna's pregnancy means she's going to be tangled up in Will's life forever.
He can't just cut her off. There are parental obligations, and you know Luna will use that baby to stay in the picture, stay in the Spencer orbit.
Absolutely. So think about the psychological damage to Electra, this level of betrayal. Delivered on the night she thought was the start of her future, the sources suggest it might just be too much for Electra to deal with, leading to inevitable, complete horror.
It's way beyond just heartbreak, isn't it? She has to process that the man she loved, the man who took her virginity, is now permanently tied to the woman who orchestrated this whole nightmare.
Yeah. A fairy tale night turns into the worst night of her life, with an irreversible biological consequence tying them all together. It probably poisons her view of love, trust, commitment, maybe forever.
Meanwhile, the adults, Sly, Bill, Katie, they're dealing with the fallout, right? The practical side.
Yeah.
Ly's really stepping up.
Oh yeah, Ly's in protective matriarch mode, but like justice-seeking matriarch mode. She is determined. She wants Luna in prison.
She's prioritizing justice over blood ties.
Oh.
That feels rare for BMB.
It really does. She seems focused on stopping Luna from passing on her and Poppy's brand of insanity, as the source put it, to another generation. This is like cutting off a toxic lineage before it infects the Spencers even more.
That's powerful, especially coming from Lee. We know how fiercely she protects Finn, but here she's looking at the bigger picture. Justice, protecting the wider family, even if it means going after her own granddaughter.
It really sets her apart from some past B&B matriarchs who might have tried to cover things up.
And Will, Bill, and Katie, they're just reeling.
Described as horrified and looking for solutions.
Right.
They're scrambling, trying to figure out how to handle the legal side. Can they still prosecute? How do they keep Luna away? And the impossible family obligation side created by the pregnancy. Do they essentially let Luna get away with it because of the baby, or do they pursue charges against a pregnant woman knowing the mess that creates?
What a nightmare. There's no good answer there.
Yeah.
Okay, so amidst this absolute firestorm with the Spencers, Finnegans, Sharps, we do have some other stuff happening, right? Quieter developments in the Forrester Logan world.
Or kind of like the background noise to the main explosion. And we start with something the source basically called anticlimactic.
Yeah, okay. What's that?
This strange, sudden truce, maybe even alliance between Thomas Forrester and Brooke Logan.
Thomas and Brooke hugging what?
Exactly. Apparently they had some big confrontation, but instead of the usual screaming match we expect from those two, it somehow just devolved into a hug fest.
A hug fest. Thomas and Brooke. The history there is just obsession, manipulation, conflict. So now they're suddenly, what, besties?
Bestie, stepmother, and stepson is how the source put it. Yeah, described as very anticlimactic. And you can see why. We were braced for fireworks, not group therapy.
It's a huge narrative shift. What does that even mean going forward?
Right.
Has Thomas genuinely changed? Is Brooke finally accepting him? Or is it just...
Well, it feels kind of weird, right? On one hand, maybe it shows Thomas is serious about stability, about burying the hatchet. On the other hand, it kind of isolates Ridge, doesn't it? He usually hates it when they get along.
Yeah.
Makes the whole thing feel Temporary, like a placeholder before the next drama.
And what was the confrontation even about if it ended in a hug? Did Brooke finally acknowledge his commitment to Hope? Maybe? Or did Thomas appeal to her family unity thing? Whatever it was, it's a sudden pivot.
A pivot that kind of clears the decks emotionally, just as we hear whispers Thomas might be leaving. We'll get to that.
Okay, interesting timing. So who else? There's a new character, right?
Deke.
Yeah, Deke. We saw him before at Il Giardino. He seemed concerned about Luna and specifically mentioned something about 2 men she killed.
Whoa, wait. 2 men she killed. That's specific and alarming. Highly provocative detail, isn't it? Did Luna actually kill 2 men? Or is Deke maybe related to 2 guys who died because of Luna or Poppy's steams? And he just blames Luna. The source framed it as Deke being concerned about Luna and the 2 men she killed, which kind of implies he holds her directly responsible.
Okay, so Deke might have a serious vendetta, or at least some heavy backstory connected to Luna's past crimes. Crimes we might not even know about yet.
Exactly. And his name, Deke. I mean, come on.
Sounds like Deacon Jr., right?
Strongly suggests he's Deacon Sharp's son, which
Bro.
immediately plugs him into the Forrester-Logan family tree, complicated as it is.
And his goal isn't just revenge, apparently. He wants a job.
Yeah, the sources say his big plan is to be a Forrester fashion designer. So he's not just here for a quick dramatic arc. He wants a career, a place in the company.
Okay, so if he is Deacon's son, how does that play out? Deacon trying to get him a job at Forrester Creations.
That's the speculation. Deacon might go to Brooke, or maybe more likely go to Hope. You know, hey, this is my son. Can you give him a shot? Deacon's always trying to get legitimacy for himself and his family within that world.
And Hope. She'd kind of be obligated, wouldn't she, if Deke is her half-brother?
It would be really hard for her to say no, right? Family loyalty, giving him a leg up. But that immediately creates potential drama, conflict of interest maybe, helping this new guy who's tied to her dad's messy life.
And what about her fashion line? Could Deke work on Hope for the future? Is that line even still active?
Good question. It's been kind of volatile. The sources mention the line might still be canceled, actually. Hope could be working on other projects.
So if Hope for the future is gone, Hope would have to fight to get Deke a spot somewhere else at Forrester, like on the main couture line.
Could be. Which might put her directly at odds with, say, Steffi when she gets back. Suddenly, hiring Deacon's son isn't just a favor, it's an internal power play.
Interesting. Okay, any other quick updates? What's happening with the other main players?
Let's see. Eric and Taylor apparently had an argument this week. So, continued instability there. Brooke, on the other hand, is going to spend next week reveling in being Mrs. Ridge Forrester again.
Reveling. Sounds like she's trying to stay in her happy newlywed bubble while the world burns around her.
Pretty much. Taylor, after her argument with Eric, is trying to figure out what is next for her.
Uh-oh. When a soap character is figuring out what's next, that usually means big changes are coming. New career, new relationship. Maybe she'll actually practice psychiatry again. Lord knows they need one.
Wouldn't that be something? And finally, good news for Steffi fans. She's back soon.
Okay, so Steffi walks right back in to all of this. Luna, the pregnancy, the potential Deke drama.
Yep. Her return is definitely going to shake things up immediately, especially regarding Forrester-Spencer dynamics and how they handle Luna.
Now, one last thing.
Yeah.
Sources mention some worry about Thomas, Matthew Atkinson.
Yeah, a note of concern that he might get written off the show without a proper exit storyline. Just kind of disappear.
Ugh, they do that sometimes, don't they? Like with Quinn and Wyatt.
Yeah.
Characters are central 1 minute, gone the next, no explanation.
It's frustrating for viewers. The worry is that even with this new bestie status with Brooke, maybe Thomas's story feels too resolved or isolated right now, making him an easy character to quietly write out if the actor's contract is up or they just want to shift focus.
I would feel really unceremonious after years of him being at the center of everything. Just a little shadow hanging over his current plot. hashtag outro.
So yeah, wrapping all this up, this deep dive really shows that the week of September 22nd is just defined by these 2 massive, unavoidable catastrophes. They're going to permanently change the landscape of B&B.
You got the complete breakdown of Sheila and Deacon's relationship, which felt fragile anyway, but now seems totally doomed. And then the just utter, heartbreaking destruction of Will and Electra's future.
It really is a perfect, if tragic, example of how one character's completely delusional choice, Luna thinking, oh, a baby will fix everything, can just spiral outwards, creating this huge, multi-generational mess.
Yeah, a web of chaos that hits romance, family safety, even business decisions for the Spencers, and just blows up Deacon's whole attempt at having a normal ish life.
It's a really fascinating, kind of intense lesson in dramatic consequences, isn't it? How one bad seed, one terrible decision can just wreck so many lives.
And you mentioned earlier, Deacon kind of accidentally set the stage for this.
Yeah.
By trying to help Will, maybe, but mostly just by letting Sheila live there, trusting her. His attempt at happiness got totally hijacked.
Yeah, his intentions might have been okay in some ways, but the complacency, the blind spot regarding Sheila, it had huge consequences.
Which brings us to our final thought.
Wow.
Something for you, the listener, to chew on as you process all this. This devastating week of spoilers. How often does a hero's mistake, like Deacon trusting Sheila, or maybe Will delaying his confession to Electra, how often does that inadvertently end up fueling the villain's plot?
Right. What are those broader unintended consequences of just trying to do good, or maybe just trying to avoid conflict, when you've got someone like Sheila, or now her granddaughter Luna, operating right there in your inner circle?
It seems like sometimes the smallest choices or failures to act can pave the way for the biggest tragedies. Definitely something to think about as we wait for all this drama to explode on screen.
Absolutely. We'll be here to break it all down next time. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.